Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. This is more of a, I would say, a winter video. If I can focus in on that. Kind of bright, or I say really bright. But as you can see, this is a DIETZ blizzard lantern actually. And I thought I just want to do a quick video on it. See if I can turn my brightness down on my phone, help my camera focus. This thing puts out a fair bit of light. We have quite a bit of snow, easily around 4 to 5 inches. As you can see, my foot just sinks in the snow. It's awful. I actually have my pants tucked into my boots. But I want to do a video on this actually, because this thing is really neat. This is what they used way back whenever there was no flashlights. No flashlights were even invented, or weren't even thought of. But as you can see, this is what people used to use. They would hang these on the front of like horse buggies. You know, they would carry these around. This is actually, so like I said before, this is a blizzard lantern. So this is what you would carry in the wintry weathers whenever it was blowing whenever the wind was blowing really hard and it was cold out. And the way they make it to where this lantern can actually stay lit in the blizzards is because the way the globe actually goes up on it. And this is the globe, the glass piece. Really, this is really hot, so I can't touch it. But the way they made the globe go up on it and the way the draft goes into the flame. So that's how they designed those, so it would actually stay lit during the wintry weather when it was really cold out. But this thing is actually putting out a fair bit of light. And a lot of people think, well, fire don't put out that much light. Well, some fires do, some fires don't. But as you can see, let me adjust my phone real quick. This thing is lighting up the entire ground right here in the front. You can see it's really dark out right now. So it's lighting up a fair bit of ground. So it's really, really neat. And I thought I'd do a little bit of history on this thing. This is really neat. Now this is not an older one they actually made way long ago. This is just a rebuilt one. It's a DIETZ blizzard lantern. As you can see the word DIETZ right there, D-I-E-T-Z, DIETZ. And they still make them. They make new ones, obviously ones today. And then they do make old ones from way long ago, like in the 1920s and stuff like that. So a long time ago. And I thought this thing is really neat. But what's really neat is, let's say if you're out in the winter or something like this, you can set it down. This is sitting on the back of my tractor right now, up in a corn crib in a barn or a field. Let's say right here, this is your chimney on top right here, okay? And what you can do is, there's a lot of heat coming off this thing, the heat from the flame, and you can just set your hands on top like this and warm it up. Now, obviously, you don't want to touch this right here. This is hot metal, very hot. Like that snow, if I grabbed it and put it on there, it'll just sizzle and burn. But you can put your hand on top and warm your hands up. It doesn't put out a lot of heat really quick, but it does rise, and it will warm your hands up over time. So it's very, very nice. But I do have a pair of gloves with me because it is very cold out right now. So that's that. And then the thing is, you might be wondering, well, how do you put out your flame, or how do you start your flame? Well, what you did is, normally you would have a matches back then, but there's this little lever right here that's lift. You would push down on this. Probably won't take two hands, but push down, lock in place, and turn my flame down because it messed up my draft. But then there's your flame. You take I would say if you have a matchstick or a torch or however you did it back then, take it, put it up in there, and there's a wick inside there. And this right here, this is your little, I would say, where you'd pour in your lantern oil. Now, back then, they had some pretty thick oil. They didn't have the stuff we have nowadays. But we have, if you ever seen, I'll say, an oil lantern, something like that, maybe that your grandparents might have, I would say. They had something like that. You can ask them about it. They'll probably tell you a lot about it, but you just put oil in there. And as you can see, man, I think it's really bright. But they would put some oil in there, and it would draw oil up through that wick, and you would actually burn the oil. So your wick is also burning, so your wick would go down too, but nowhere near as fast as your oil. So right now, you're just pulling up a bunch of oil through the wick. So whenever you go out of oil, that flame will pull that wick dry as a bone, and then you're out of oil, and your wick will just slowly burn out. So it won't stay lit unless you have oil in there. So that's that. And I think it's just really neat. Wanted to do some history on this. I think more people should know about these, how people use these back then, and they're just really cool. And here, I'll walk around real quick and show you some things about them and how much light they put out, actually. So I'm going to turn up the flame as much as it will go. And you don't ever want to get your flame too high, because when your flame gets too high, there's more flame, I would say there's more of a fire there than there is oxygen coming in. So you'll start creating smoke. You start creating black smoke, and that will actually make your globe dirty. And then it will start dimming it down. It won't put near as much light as it can. So as you can see, it's actually really bright, putting out a fair bit of light, as you can see, lighting up the side of the barn. Let me turn my brightness up a little bit. There we go. Look at that. This thing's awesome. Lighting up the barn, lighting up the ground and everything. And yeah, I'm walking around at least 5 or 6 inches, almost 6, I want to say. As you can see, this thing puts out a crazy amount of light. And whenever there's no other light around, it will show you. So I think this thing's pretty neat. I wanted to do a quick video on them. So I hope you guys like it, and I hope there's more videos coming soon. Talk to you guys later.